Morning, children. Now, from today onwards, we are going to deal with the chapter Civics, chapter number 2, Federalism. Okay, Federalism. Now, let us see what is the meaning of federalism. Federalism is a system in which the governmental power is divided between a central authority and its various constituent units. So, what is federalism? In federalism, the governmental power, the whole and sole power of the government is divided between two parts. One part belongs to the central authority, okay, and the other part belongs to the various constituent units. We can call these constituent units states also, or princely states also. Okay, so this is federalism, means to divide powers between the main authority and the smaller units of a country. Okay, so further, federal form of government, and on the other hand of the picture you can see unitary system and federal form. Federal form, we have just seen that to divide powers, governmental powers, between two units or two tiers, levels. Okay, but here in unitary system you will have only one level of government. So who are the countries? Here are just the examples of federal form of government and unitary system of government, which of the countries they follow. So federal form of government is followed by Belgium, one of the examples of the countries who follow the federal form of government. And unitary system, United Kingdom, that is UK, and Sri Lanka, they follow the unitary system of government. Okay, so under the unitary system, there is only one level of government, as I told you. Under the unitary, the name itself says unit, means one. Okay, so one level of government. There may be sub-units like sub-governments, but they are under the absolute subordination of the central government. So only one main government is there. Okay, the power rests, the whole and sole power rests only in the hand of this government. Okay, there may be sub-unit or sub-state governments, but these states, they don't have their own powers to take decision on their own. Okay, the ultimate power rests in the hands of this central government or the main government. If these smaller units, they need to take any decision, they have to take the permission from the this one level government. Okay, and this is called unitary system, which obeys the orders, rules and regulations which are led by the one government. Okay, so what this is the unitary system which we have learned now. Now let us move towards the federal system of government. Means under federalism, what happens? Under the federal system, there are two or more tiers or levels of government. Okay, as you can see in this first image, there are different tiers or levels of government. Center is there, state is there, okay, and local or self-government is there. We'll move towards first. So central, state, and as an exception in India, a third tier or local government also exists only in India. Okay, wherever you go in the world where federal system of government is followed, you will find that there are only two tiers of government in those federal countries. Okay, which two tiers? Central government and state government. But India is the only exception. Okay, India is the only federal country which has three tiers of government. We have central government, we have state government, and the new concept which we are following is the third tier, which is named as local government or self-government. Okay, further, however, each tier has its own jurisdiction in specific matters of legislation, taxation, and administration. So each of these tiers, they are independent. Okay, they have their own jurisdiction, they have their own specific matters of legislation, taxation, and administration. They have their own powers to deal with these three things: legislation, taxation, and administration. They don't have to take the permission from the central government. Okay, so they are independent. So what is the meaning of jurisdiction? Jurisdiction means the area over which someone has legal authority The area may be defined in terms of geographical boundaries. So what is jurisdiction? The area over which someone has legal authority. A place where a person has been given the authority to rule over. Okay. Under his jurisdiction, the other person cannot interfere. Okay. Or the same person cannot interfere in any other's jurisdiction. So he has got the job to look after that particular area, who looks after the day-to-day matters. Okay. He looks after that. No one from the other jurisdiction area can interfere in his matter. So this is jurisdiction. So each level has got its own jurisdiction, where they can see the matters of legislation, taxation and administration. For example, in India, we have central government. And where is central government? It is there in the capital of our country, Delhi. Okay. And it has its own jurisdiction, whereas other subunits or other constituent units, other states like Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, okay, Hyderabad, these are the examples of constituent units. They have their independent jurisdiction. Maharashtra has its own jurisdiction, Rajasthan has its own jurisdiction, Uttar Pradesh has its own jurisdiction. Okay, so these states, they never interfere in each other's matters. They rule their own states. So further, central government has its own jurisdiction, and these constituent units, they have their own jurisdiction. So till here, the federal system we have studied, and unitary system where only one level of government runs the country. Further, now since this chapter is related to federalism, we are going to focus on federalism. So federalism provides constitutional guarantees for the existence and authority of each tier of government. In addition, the basic provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one tier of government. What it says that in federalism, constitutional guarantees are there, means constitution in its design has provided the existence and authority of each tier of government of federalism. If you go and see the constitution, over there it is mentioned that under federalism can provide existence and authority of each tier of government, to each tier of government. Okay. In addition, the basic provision of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one tier of government. So one tier of government, whether it be central or whether it be state, or in India whether it be local government, these three tiers of government, they cannot change the constitution, the provisions made by the constitution. Whatever provisions are made by the constitution for each level of the government, these tiers, they independently, they cannot change. Okay, if they want to change certain provisions made by the constitution, what they have to do, then they require the approval of both the tiers of the government. So both these governments, center and state, they have to sit together and they have to discuss on these matters where they need to make the changes in the constitutional provisions. Okay, if both the states they give the approval, then only the changes can be made in the constitution. So last year, if you remember, when you studied your civics chapter number 2, constitutional design, you have learned that our constitution is the living document. Okay, you can make changes at any time, but those changes are needed to be done and under the approval of both the government, center and state. Understood? So these provisions can be changed by the approval of both the tiers of government, center and state. So this is federalism. Okay. Further, every level is free in its own way to impose taxes and raise funds through remunerative enterprises. However, the sources of revenue for each tier are also clearly specified. So every level, central level, state level, local level, okay, they they have their own way to impose taxes and raise funds through remunerative enterprises. Remunerative means to remunerate means to pay money, certain amount to a person for his duty or service, for his work done, whatever work he has done. So that is remunerative. So these states are free in their own way to impose taxes. They don't have to depend. See, central government, it doesn't have to depend upon state government. State government, neither it has to depend upon central government. So both the governments separately have their own way to impose taxes and raise funds. But however, the sources of revenue for each tier are also clearly specified. So revenue means money matter, fund, capital. Okay, so for that system also, each tier, the thing is clearly specified in our constitution. These three tiers, they never interfere in each other's revenue matters. Further, an independent judiciary is the very essence of federalism. Judicial system of our country, or any country where federalism is followed, it plays an important role, because judiciary, law, it is neither on the side of central government, nor it is on the side of state government. It stands on its own. It is unbiased, unprejudiced. Okay, so an independent judiciary is the very essence of the federalism. The courts have the power to interpret the constitution and the powers of the different tier of the government. So which body has the power to interpret the constitution also and the different tiers of government also? That supreme power is the court, law. Okay, it can interpret constitution as well as different tiers of the government. So the highest court acts as an umpire in case of disputes between different tiers of government. So the highest court, it has the power and it acts as an umpire when, if suppose there is any dispute or conflict in different tiers of government. Say for central government, state government, there are certain conflicts. They are not coming to a certain decision on a certain matter. So who interferes? The highest court interferes, or both these level of government, they approach the highest government and they ask for the judgment or justice. Okay, then here highest court acts as an umpire. It studies both the tiers of government and then it gives its decision. So that decision has to be followed by both the tiers of government. Understood? So here judiciary system is very important for a federal type of government. Federalism has the dual objectives of promoting unity of the country and recognizing regional diversity by way of mutual trust and agreement of living together. So what are the dual objects? What are the dual aims of federalism? So it says, one of it says safeguarding unity, and the other one says mutual trust among diverse regions. So safeguarding unity. So there are so many constituent units or states, okay, under one nation. So to see the unity among them through governing central government and the state government. And also it says it's look after the mutual trust among diverse region. Mutual trust means all of them should believe in each other. All of them should believe in the central government also. In this way they can create they have the agreement of living together. This is the very important objective of federalism. Further, the balance of power between central and state governments can vary from federation to federation. So the balance can be maintained between central and state government. It depends. It can vary from federation to federation. So it depends mainly on the historical context in which the federation was formed. So it depends on the historical time in the past, in the history, when the federal system of that country was formed. Okay, so if here you can see the two countries. One is the United States of America and the other is South Africa. In the history, both these countries have they have decided their own federal system of government. Okay, so based on this, there are two ways in which federation can be formed. So how we come to know that what kind of federal government the country is following, any particular country is following, depending on what kind of federation that country chose to follow. So there are two ways in which federation can be formed. One is coming together and the other is holding together federation. So here you can see types of federation. So there are two types, coming together and holding together. We have seen in this slide the objectives of federalism. One is safeguarding unity and the other is mutual trust among diverse regions. Okay, now we have come to the point, the ways in which federation can be formed. So there are two ways in which federation can be formed, coming together and holding together. Now let us study coming together. Now observe these images carefully. First image, you can see there are different states. Okay, in the second image, besides it, you can see those states, they have come together. Okay, based on the previous images, the images down below, you can see there are different states, they are away from each other. Okay, later on they have come together. So this is the coming together federation. So in coming together federation, independent states, they come together on their own to form the biggest unit, so that by pooling sovereignty and retaining identity, they can increase their security. So why they have come together? There are two reasons. By pooling sovereignty. Sovereignty means they have marked their boundaries. By coming together, they have marked their boundaries, and not any outsider or any country, neighboring country or any other country can interfere in their boundary or in their legal matters, in their financial matters or any other matter. So that is called sovereignty or sovereign. So these nations, by coming together, they form a sovereign nation by not allowing any other outside country to interfere in their matters. And also by retaining identity, they by coming together, they get their own identity, they become the biggest unit, and they can increase their security. Okay, they become secure by coming together. So this is one form in which federation can be created or formed, that is coming together. Further, it is let us see what are the examples of coming together federation. USA, Switzerland and Australia are the examples of coming together federation. So which countries they follow coming together federation? United States of America, Switzerland and Australia. These are the examples of coming together federation. In these countries, all the constituent states usually have equal power and are strong vis-a-vis, means in relation to the federal government. So for coming together federation, all the constituent states, okay, they have equal power in relation to the federal government. Okay, so there are different levels of governments are there. Central government is there, state government is there, but state government stands equally to the central government. So this is how these coming together federation countries, they have formed. Now we are going to move towards the holding together federation. Okay, in holding together federation, a large country decides to divide its power between the constituent states and the national government. Okay, so in holding together federation, in the first image you can see a center. Center means it is the indication, or it shows a large country. What it does further, this large country, it divides its powers between the constituent states and the national government. So here the power is divided between the central government and the state governments. Okay, for example, which countries follow the holding together federation? India, Spain and Belgium. So India, Spain and Belgium, these are the examples where holding together federation form. We know that, see, we have central government, we have state government, we have local government. That means the governmental power of our country is divided into these three levels. So obviously we come under the holding together federation. So till here we will study in this video. Further, we are going to study about the holding together federation in detail. Since we Indians follow the holding together federation, so we need to study it in a deep way. So please watch this video once again and again until you understand the concepts. Please read the textbook part, where these parts in the textbook, also the refresher notes. Okay, and leave your comment in the comment section. Thank you.